What's up, y'all? This is a late in the AM live stream. It is technically June 1st because it's 2 a.m. in the morning here in Cali. But I just wanted to do this video just to get my thoughts off my chest concerning the AEW game, which I do plan on getting, but probably not till later this year, depending on they give us more news, because the creation options will decide for me of whether I'm going to get the game or not. So I've been going back and forth in quite a few channels with people in the comments on YouTube concerning the game. There's been, gameplay footage coming out from what's his name, Eva Uno, or what of his name? I think he's like a announcer for AEW, and he's been playing with guests on his show and stuff like that, and playing some basic stuff from some matches from the game. And it's basically from what I gather, it is what I thought the game would be. It's like, I think the worst criticism I can give the game, which is kind of a low blow shot, but I did post in the comments of one video stating it looks like a well-made, well-produced wrestling mobile game that you can play on your phone. But to be honest, I've seen some pretty well-made looking games. Like, I think there's a mobile Madden game. I know the mobile Injustice fighting game was pretty good. There's been a Mortal Kombat game. You can play some pretty good looking games on your phone. And to me, graphically, AEW doesn't impress me. As far as my background of playing video games, been playing them hardcore for the last 15 years. Yes, a lot of WWE, SVR, SmackDown vs. Raw, WWE, WWE 2K games. A lot of those. I have preferences when it comes to aesthetics in these games. I don't really care about the in-game product or the WWE product. I barely play the in-game wrestlers at all. It's all about the creation options for me. 2009 was the game. SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 was the game that pretty much really got me into wrestling games. It wasn't my first wrestling game. The first wrestling game I bought was WWF Warzone back in the late 90s for the PlayStation 1. And why did I buy it? Because there was an option in the game. You go through the game with a male created wrestler, and you can unlock being able to create female wrestlers. Once I heard about that, I bought the game. I love creating my own content, especially when I can create female wrestlers. And so SVR 2009, the graphics still hold up in that game to this day. You can make very attractive, extremely busty female wrestlers. That trend lasted up until WWE 2K 15 on the PS4. Granted, WWE 2K15 through 17 on the PS3, Xbox 360, you can still make hugely busty female created wrestlers. But the games were lacking options, didn't have as many options, they weren't as graphically impressive as the PS4 counterparts. And so when I got to WWTK, I had to deal with, I can't make crazy busty females. I got used to it. They made up for it where I can make pretty good looking, realistic looking women in terms of proportions. Except, from the waist down, they're hot. You can give your woman a nice little booty, some thick thighs, and whatever, stuff like that. Concerning AEW, aesthetically, I'm not a fan of it because I feel due to budget constraints, as well as Kenny Omega's input, as far as making the game play and look and be stylized exactly like No Mercy, it's going to hamper the game. Now, granted, for some people they'll think it will sell because there's a lot of people who really love No Mercy and have that nostalgia kick. at the same time, you need more than that. It's like the SVR games have been setting the WWE games have been setting the standard for wrestling games for like the past 20 years now. So it's like, I just saw a caption of a YouTube video saying you can't compare AEW to the WWE games. I'm like, yes, you can. Just on the fact that they're both wrestling games. If you're a wrestling game entering into this sphere, yes, you are going to be compared by default to the WWE game because they are the standard. They are the standard with the games now. And I just find it ironic. I knew the game was going to be on a budget because even in the early development, even before development, they were talking about, you know, we are not going the whole total simulation realistic route that 2K is going for. So they have been purposely lowering people's expectations for the AEW game. And so I noticed one of the biggest things people have been saying in the chats, you know, up until they announced the release date, is like, you can't compare the two. This is more arcadey. I'm like, no, it didn't. You can't harp on, oh my God, I'm so happy you brought chain wrestling back and stuff like that in arcade in the same sentence. Because there have not been many wrestling games with chain wrestling up until it became a staple in WWE 2K15 up until WWE 2K20. And they set the standard as far as chain wrestling being a part of the gameplay. But the thing was, it wasn't an integral part of the gameplay. But those are the games on record that really instituted it. And usually you can only do the chain wrestling at certain points of the matches, or you accidentally trigger it on accident. I think you can hold down, like, I don't know if it was the L trigger or one of the triggers and pushing the left thumbstick to institute a chain grapple sequence. But gamers got tired of that right after WWE 2K18 came out. It's like they wanted more fun. They wanted more of the here comes the pain style of gameplay. They wanted more they want the ease of use of the No Mercy games, where it was just, you just had, you know, basic controls and stuff like that. So people wanted the fun, you know, back in their wrestling games. And that began before WWE 2K19 came out. And so I just find it amusing that they're saying, oh, it's arcadey, you can't compare it, but yet they're lauding the AEW games for having some form of chain wrestling. I'm like, all I'm seeing is just elaborate reversal animations that come off as chain wrestling. It's like, which was basically what chain wrestling was in W2K. Except, you know, you had to aim your little thumbstick or whatever in the red, and you can actually apply damage. But in freaking AEW, from what I've seen with the gameplay, it's just a series of reversals where they animate and seem like they're going into chain wrestling motions, but it's like more like a series of just reversals. And the funny thing is Ukes developed the chain wrestling system in those WWE 2K games. And you have to compare the two, because like I said, WWE games set the standard, and if you're a wrestling game into their arena, well, you're not going to just dip your toe in there and say, oh, I'm just going to dip my toe and see what happens. Like, nah, you're going to be bumping heads. You're going to be competing. It's like, granted, they're not making a yearly game, so they're not truly going head to head. They're playing the long game with the game, so to speak, where they're like, you know, they'll release some DLC, probably some you know, some lightweight DLCs. I'm seeing no DLC being no more than like $9.99 for maybe some certain wrestlers. Maybe some they might patch in some free attires and stuff like that, and things like that. I could see them doing that over a span of probably 3 to 4 years. But trust me, people are going to get bored of that game real easily unless they really start having a regular schedule for content for probably the next 2 to 3 years. It has to be on a set schedule. and they have to stick with that schedule to keep people interested. I can't really have a final opinion until I see the creation options of the game. I just wanted to address the arguments that people are having, because there is a lot of 2K haters, and they've been hating ever since, I think, 2K22, especially after 2K20 came out. But when 2K22 dropped, and then especially with 2K23, because 2K23 shows a lot of improvement as far as, okay, all the haters, you know, they're running out of things to hate on concerning the game. And me, I don't have too much experience with No Mercy. I got it on my modified Xbox. I played it a few times. The only thing that sucks is I guess with N64 games, you had to use a rumble pack kind of extra accessory to save your created content to. And since it doesn't have that function on my modified Xbox, I can't create any wrestlers and save them and actually use them. It's like I can create them, I could probably do a save state, but once I exit out the create a wrestler menu, it doesn't save. It doesn't save the wrestler at all. But I have used some of the in-game wrestlers in the game. The characters are blocky hot messes aesthetically. I've never been a fan of the Nintendo 64 graphics engine. Never been a fan. That's not to say there haven't been no really good looking Nintendo 64 games. There have, but they all have this weird kind of washed colors, kind of blocky aesthetic. It's just the way the console and the games are. It's just the way it is. And they give you a lot of in-ring options when you play the game. I applaud the game for having, you can do a lot of things. You know, you can go top rope, you can do all kinds of stuff in the ring. It's as far as for its time, it was a feature-rich wrestling game. I can't hate on it. It had a pretty extensive story mode in No Mercy and stuff like that. But as far as the game graphics, aesthetics, I am not a fan of it at all. And they're bringing those same aesthetics and stuff to the AEW game. Like, this one video, I think his name is Kenny Baum, and they're showing some of the female wrestlers like Jade Cargill and whatever. And it's like, he feels the character model looks good. I'm like, nah, they gave her the broad shoulders. She still has kind of the kind of stocky, almost frame of the male characters, and the female characters animate the same as the male characters. And I'm like, nah, Jade Cargill is tall, she's muscular, but she still has a feminine build and whatever look to her body. You know, she's still a physically attractive, kind of sexy female body on her. And you got all these different body types as far as the AEW female wrestlers. You got some muscular, you got some tiny ones like Riho. You got, you know, BBW like Nyla Rose. You know, they got some Japanese wrestlers, all different heights, all different body types. And you're not really kind of getting the diversity with the female, you know, wrestlers on the roster. They don't have feminine animations. So the male and female wrestlers are going to animate the same in terms of movement. Because like you can see in this game, when you use like a female wrestler, they have their own type of movement, the way they walk and things like that, where you can say, okay, that's definitely, you know, a female wrestler.
Yeah, we usually don't consider these matches life or death, but she absolutely does. Which makes her even more of a threat than her talent does. But also in the ring is a competitor who... And
some moves are also female wrestler specific. So they're going to animate like when you use like Becky Lynch, there's quite a few female wrestlers. They have their own special moves specific to them. So when you put them on your female wrestlers and even on male wrestlers, they're going to have feminine animations to them. It's like I haven't played the AEW game, but based on what I've seen, it's kind of lacking that.
So many ways to get the better of her opponent. Corey, what do you think is going to be the go-to for her?
And like right now, I'm using the older, kind of the legend version of Zero Buster Akane. I actually took her online, and it took me forever to get a match. And then when I set up my own match in the lobby and played. I think I'll upload that video and do commentary on it of that match. It's like that. My only match I played and I won, and the person, they rage quit on me. They rage quit. They were whooping my ass for a good chunk of the match until I figured out their tendencies and knew what stuff they could counter. They were doing a good job of containing my offense until I figured out stuff that they couldn't stop, and I started mixing up my grapples and attacks and stuff like that. And they pretty much rage quit. I was shocked. It was a knockout match. I ended up finishing the match against a computer AI opponent. And yeah, I use this wrestler online. The legend version of Zero Buster Akane. With the thong. And but the person, they quit on me. It was like they quit before. It was like right when I pinned them after doing the finisher, they pretty much they just left. They left the match. And I was like, what the fuck? Wow. He still could have won the match. He could have. I don't know if they could have kicked out of it or what. All I know is when I make my female calls, I maximize their move sets to where they get the multipliers for damage and stuff. And since she does have a 90 in kick, and her finisher is like a kick move, he might not have been able to kick out. That's what I'm thinking. He might not have been able to kick out. When I guess against the computer AI, I end up knocking the computer out anyway. They picked Charlotte, which is like 1 point higher in terms of rating than this wrestler. And yeah, the person rage quit. I'll upload that video. It was laggy during the first part of it. The lag was like really bad. That person had a 1 bar. My internet connection was going between a 1 bar, and a 3 bar. It was not very consistent. When it was at a 3 bar, the match was very much playable. Very much playable. But when it get down to a 1 bar with his connection, I noticed the game would freeze, and you'll get like the stutters. The game will freeze and start. It was just a hot mess. Oh my god, I can't believe I let her pull that off. I'm playing on hard difficulty, so Becky Lynch, she's always a challenge to play against in this game. Computer just made her semi-OP. Oh, you just gonna pop off, aren't you? Do that again. Waste that meter. Here's another tip with this game. When people run at you, just push the grapple button. Push the grapple button. Bam. And you'll automatically grapple them out of their running attack, or grapple. That's just the old school online pro tip for you guys. You could do that ever since WWE 12. And it's still usable, still abusable in the modern games. There you go. Alright, I gotta get her stunned. Oh, she won't let me stun her. There we go. So that way she doesn't counter out when I put her up in this corner. Oh, come on, computer. Don't do this to me. I want to do the finisher. Try to angle her to the corner. There you go. She might counter it. Yep, she countered it. See, I should have did it when she was dizzy. Go taunt? You go taunt? Keep that insecurity.
And more hits up there can leave AEW days. Muay Thai clinch applied. Knees, lefts and rights, and then one to the gut.
Oh, she countered it. Ooh.
Can they go on the attack? She's able to get out of the way.
Oh, wrong button. Another high-level tip. Make sure you know exactly what your your heavy attacks are. I would say more than anything with this game, instead of relying on combos online, make sure you have very good, fast, quick, heavy attacks. Because a lot of people, oh my god, come on. See, that's Becky Lynch is annoying. She is so annoying. You do not want to get her started. Yep, she's getting started. Computer will come back on you. It's like I know her tendencies, but like I said, you can have a bad day countering. And every time I try to go for that finisher in that corner, and when she hits you with that running strike in the corner, it's so fast it's hard to counter it. And if I hit her with the move thief, there we go, got out stunner. Yep, there we go. But do I still got a finisher though? Yeah, I still got a finisher. One of these days I'm gonna do this frickin' suplex through a table. That is just a muscle booty. Damn. She might kick out though. She might kick out too. Nope, she didn't kick out. That was way too much damage. But yeah, as far as AEW, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm sure the game will do fine. If it sells 350,000 copies, it will be deemed a success. And since they're playing the long game, they'll really have to focus on, I think they're really focusing on the gameplay more than anything and the core mechanics of the game to build word of mouth, to really try to bake on nostalgia and to quote unquote be a wrestling game alternative to the 2K series. It's like, I wouldn't consider it an alternative, it's just another wrestling game. That's what it is. It's a wrestling game for no mercy marks. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a wrestling game for no mercy marks. Like I was saying earlier, No Mercy, aesthetically, not a fan. Gameplay is decent. It's a fully loaded wrestling game. Great for its time. But yeah, the haters, the anti-2K fans are out in full force in the comments of AEW games, just saying, oh my god, I'm happy Change Wrestling back. Oh, I'm happy, that, we're getting a more arcade experience, and they're saying all this other type of bullshit, and it's really just bullshit. A good chunk of it is bullshit. I have gotten to some debates with people, and they pretty much bow out after a while. They can't debate using facts. It's all nostalgia. It's all passion. It's all, they want something different. And they just be honest. They be like, I want to play a game like No Mercy. I want something, a modern game that plays like No Mercy. That's all you gotta say, people. You don't have to put down 2K. You don't have to put down 2K just to openly admit that. But that's really the case. That's the only thing they got. They just should just say it. I want a modern game. I want a new game set in modern times that play like No Mercy. And that's exactly what they got with AEW. It's like, I feel, because of budget constraints and because of you know, AEW's what they want in the game as far as Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, and whoever else was behind the project, what they wanted in the game. I feel Ukes, they got handcuffed into the project. They did. I know for them, they want to do something new. They were tired of, you know, like I said, almost 20 years working on WWE games. Like I've been telling people, as far as in the game code, you got over a decade worth of code and moves, even in this game. The Ukes engine is very solid, and this game was still built on top of a Ukes engine. Game is still using the Ukes engine. It is. Anybody telling you otherwise is an idiot. Idiot, and don't know about video game and video game programming. And Ukes is still using a form of their engine in the AEW game, but it's severely budgeted. They got handcuffed. I'm kind of surprised that it's taken dude, when did they announce this game? Like 2 years ago, almost. Yeah, like 2 years ago they announced they were going to be making a game. And granted, 2 years is a quick turnaround, but based on what I'm seeing, it's not worth $63. It's not worth $59.99 on launch day. I know that's a fucked up thing to say. Like I said, I'm going to wait probably for a Black Friday sale, or if it has really good word of mouth, or if it just has really, really good creation options. Like I said, I like the fact that they brought intergender matches back. So like I said, I am going to get the game regardless, but I don't feel I'm going to pay $60. I don't really want to pay $60 for the game. Okay, now I'm using younger Zero Buster Akane. She has a slightly different moveset than the other one. Let's go against Bayley. Bayley's also pretty good in this game. Not as annoying and not as OP as wrestling Becky Lynch. But yeah, it's like, I do own Fire Pro Wrestling World, so I can tolerate. It's like that game, it's definitely a wrestling simulation, even though people said it's an old school 90s type, you know, old school 90s, mid 90s to early 2000s, you know, 2D wrestling game. That's the Fire Pro series in a nutshell. And it's always played like that, the formula of the game. So I may be a graphics whore, but I can tolerate old school graphics if they're done well, and if they give me very in-depth creation options and stuff like that. I can tolerate some stuff, you know. Yeah, younger Akane is just a lot more cuter. She looks a lot more sexy with the long hair.
This looks to be a match with major implications here in WWE.
I just added a few wrinkles to her face in the older version, that was it. But this one, I don't have no wrinkles on her face. Also gave her, I think, darker makeup in her older version. Yeah, she doesn't have a thong. But, I don't really care for mini games in my wrestling games, either. Don't really care. I'm sure some people treat it like a party game. I think as a multiplayer couch co-op game, it'll be pretty good. As far as online competitive play, it's going to be a hot mess. I think it'll be pretty decent. I think gameplay wise it'll be pretty decent. It'll probably be a lot easier on your Wi-Fi connection because you're not pushing that many graphical polygons with the crowd, created wrestlers and things like that. So I'll probably play and run a lot better online. But like I said, it comes down to the creation suite options on that game. I'm going to be very disappointed where if they say they make, you know, custom wrestlers, you can only like use the in-game wrestlers as a template and then make fixes and changes to them. You can edit the in-game wrestlers. Sort of like how you can do with like early Fire Pro Wrestling World, until they started giving you like more custom templates so you can, you know, do your body types and shit like that. because they don't call them created wrestlers on like the community. They didn't refer to created wrestlers in Fire Pro Wrestling as created wrestlers or calls. They call them edits. Edited wrestlers. That's what they called them. They did a good job with Bayley. They did a lot of Bayley in this game. She is probably the oldest looking late 20s, 30-something-year-old wrestler in WWE.
Bayley out here, one of the most decorated female superstars in all of WWE.
Bam. Like I said, you definitely want fast, easily executing. Oh, she's gonna get me in that guillotine. Heavy attacks, especially when you play people online, because a lot of people are going to counter. Oof. A lot of people are going to counter your striking combos online. A lot of people are going to counter them. That has been my experience so far. I can speak on other people's experience. Oh, jump right over her head. As far as my preference for wrestling game, I prefer them like this. I want my games to... I don't know, it's weird. This is a very realistic game, but even the character models are a little bit cartoony. Because I would have to say some of the older SVR games, especially SVR 2009, look a lot more realistic in them in terms of wrestler textures. She is whooping my ass. Oh my god, Bayley. Quit it, Bayley. Quit it. Oh my god, did she block that? I think she blocked that knee. I think one of my weaknesses in this game is actually reversing rope rebound attacks. It is such my weakness. Because it's a hard guess. And I still haven't figured out how to counter rebound grapples. Oh, come on. Yeah, that's another thing that bugs me is like fucking rope rebounds. So well. Yeah, that was... Yeah, sometimes you be like... The game buffers your input, so if you're mashing... You will do a move even though you didn't want to do that move. Roundhouse, yo. I think playing this game on hard for so long has kind of prepared me for like spam from new players, not good players, but just new players.
Devastating kick, and Bayley is being humbled here. She's matched Bayley's offense thus far. I hope she's ready to play the rules like a true role model.
Love that suplex.
She is still in this fight.
Ah, she countered it.
Bayley managing to find some of that needed breathing room. That could be the territory Bayley desperately needed.
I'm getting exhausted. Too much stamina. Oh shit, she grabbed me out of my frickin' dodge. Yeah, some moves you just can't dodge. You might have to just choose to block. Like I said, there's quite a few mind games in this game. Oh, she caught me my sub move? I'm gonna take your chin. Oh my god, how did she just... The recovery was ridiculous. She was stunned. Oh jeez. Yeah, you can hit people. Oh no, she won because I turned on knockouts. Yeah. Well, this also just proved my points that I did in another YouTube comments talking about. This one dude was talking about one thing's lacking in 2K games is the various powerful, you know, the level of how much damage finishers can do based on the superstar, whether they're a main eventer or whatever. And he feels, you know, some finishers don't do as much damage, or finishers shouldn't do as much damage if you put them on a creative wrestler. And I'm like, nah, man. I'm like, there are some busted finishers in this game. It's been a part of the history of these games. Like, so I thought I did a rematch, motherfucker. Yeah, some things are just busted. It's like you give your wrestler a pedigree, yeah, it's going to do really good damage. And then there's so many multipliers in the game that if you pick the right build for your wrestler, let's just say you want to give your wrestler like a super kick. Well, shit, you want to just, if you wanted to knock out and do like really like double to almost triple damage with their finisher, with their kick, super kick finisher, you better max out their leg damage, their kicking stat, their leg, you know, damage attribute. That's how you get knockouts. That's how you make finishers more effective. If you got a grapple finisher, up your grapple attribute damage. You got a punch finisher, raise your arm damage attribute. You got a submission finisher or technical, max out your technical or power submission, whatever. It's like, that's how you do it, people. That's how you maximize. Can't believe I got fucking knocked out by Bayley. But I have to admit, Bayley out wrestled me that match. She out wrestled me. That's why it's like you got to pick up on every wrestler's tendency. Every wrestler is different in this game. But going back to AEW, yeah, not impressed. But I wasn't planning on being impressed anyway. I don't know. I kind of like the initial CG trailer they did when they first announced the game 2 years ago. But now it's like looking at it, there's more spit shine on the models. The in-game animation, hand animation is okay. They kind of, it's like I'm so used to playing the 2K and SVR games where they're using sort of like motion capture. So there's a lot more smoother movements. The only problem with motion capture is like you'll be stuck in like long animations and stuff like that. But I just wanted to address some of the bullshit, the stuff, the strong talking points of the community to build up anticipation and excitement for the game. There's a lot of community bias, which is expected. It's okay. I get it. It's just me. I'm anti-bullshit. I'm a true Libra. I like looking things from a balanced perspective. I don't like to skew one way more so than the other, unless I decide to take a side on the whole argument, which I feel is the more right side of the argument. And this time I put her in pants, but her boobs are more poking out of her bra more. That's why she got the big stars in there. AEW, I think it'll probably definitely do better than Fire Pro Wrestling World did. And they supported that game for a good year and a half as far as DLC and some content. They supported that game for a good year and a half. I think the last DLC was like Stardom DLC. Alright, so I gotta be a little bit more aggressive with Bayley. I can't let her get her offense started.
Extremely beneficial to let it out here. But let's take a look at the woman across the ring, Bayley. One of the most confident and self-assured superstars we've ever seen. Bayley knows just how good she is and acts accordingly.
Basically, Zero Akane is gonna be the wrestler I use online, since I know her moveset pretty much almost by heart. And I got her built for online play, competitive play. Yeah, but people, they are very itchy with the reversal triggers, so you definitely got to mix up your offense. playing people online in 2K. It's very much like playing a fighting game. And I know some of the people in the AEW community waiting for the game, they don't want their wrestling games to play like fighting games. That's one thing I noticed with fighting game community. It's all about spots. It's all about also that in the competitive community, it's all about the cheese. It's all about out cheesing your opponent. It is. It's basically just beating the shit out of your opponent.
Bailey showing no answer for the attack. Bailey looks to be well measured
The most
right
devastatingly
now.
you can possible. Oh damn it! Didn't counter that. Ooh. Bailey becomes a pain in the ass when she starts mixing in her grapples with her strikes. Oh my god. These takedowns, yo. Oh, there it goes. Oh, ah. Yeah, like I said, when she mixes up her grapples and your strikes and keeps you guessing, that's when Bailey gets dangerous. That's how you gotta play these games. You gotta mix up.
Hoisting their opponent back to their feet.
Damn.
And Bailey taking the brunt of it then.
Almost 30 meters before I throw it back in the ring.
Their opponent is not messing around. Bailey fending that
There we go. That's it. When they run at you, push the grapple button. Push the grapple button. When you see them run at you, there we go.
This started as a match. Now it's a test of will. And now she's looking to go
I'll
top
be able to
rope.
do it. I give this version of Kane. Does she still have her top rope finisher? Maybe I took it off of her. I should have had a finisher since I just did my signature. No? Oh, that's right. I don't know. It's weird right now.
Going up top. To the sky. Fortune favors the bold. These risks could be a winning strategy. Getting that shoulder up now is huge. She sent flying into the corner.
Yeah, these running attacks to the corner are brutal. You gotta know exactly what they're gonna do. Good block.
Oh, she covers for the pin. She kicks out with force. Right now, I just don't know what it's gonna take.
Yeah, Bailey's finisher is devastating in this game. You can't take too much damage to your head at all. Dang, she's countering my fucking submission attempts. It's just pissing me off. 2K dudes have these fucky like comeback mechanics too with the endgame wrestlers.
This match is getting pushed beyond the normal limits. She shoots up the
Yeah, I think I gave her. I could have sworn I gave her a top row finisher. Yeah, there it is. This move does hella damage. Oh, she dodged it, you bitch. Oh my god, yeah. It's annoying. Ooh, volley. I countered a fucking rebound. Yeah, see, the computers start to reverse your shit a lot when they get to a certain point of damage and late in matches, and I'm not countering that well. There we go. Yeah, she's blocking. God damn it. Oh, good thing I countered that shit. Come here, bitch. Oh, I knocked her out that time. Got her. That was a fun match. I have to admit, this is the most fun I've had playing a wrestling game in a while. It's like it checked all the boxes for me. Graphics, gameplay, presentation, custom options. modes. This is like 2K23 is basically SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, which was like a feature-rich game. There was some issues with it. It wasn't perfect. Tag team matches sucked in that game. Tag team matches kind of suck in this game. Look at her bruising on her body. Her body is so bruised and red that the color of her boobs don't match with the rest of her skin. She's all red from being bruised up, but her boobs didn't get bruised. Even her face is all red from being bruised. See, a lot of these touches, like in this game, make so much difference. It's like one person in a common AEW video, he was talking, oh, you're a 2K player, you want stuff being more realistic. I'm like, fucker, I play the. It's like, what other? I got Raw 2. I got some really jank wrestling games in my collection that I enjoy playing that don't look as polished or play as polished as this game, but they're a lot more fun. But like I said, it all comes down to the creation options too. That's my whole thing. That is my bias. That is a bias I straight up own. I am not a true wrestling a wrestling fan kind of mark in terms of wrestling. I do follow wrestling to a certain extent. I follow it. I don't really watch it a lot. I'll watch the matches in the here and there from the indies, Stardom, a little bit of AEW. I follow more WWE, but it's more highlights. I don't really watch the show. I don't watch SmackDown vs. Raw. I definitely don't watch NXT. I watch some wrestling YouTube channels talking about the old days from the Attitude Era, New Generation, some documentaries, and things like that. But as being like a true mark of wrestling, that is something I'm not. That is something I am not. I just have a broad understanding of the sport as far as sports entertainment. Let's go with Wildcat Suzuki. Haven't used her in a while. Some of my wrestlers I started to ignore. Haven't been playing that often. Who should I beat up on? Let's try her. Probably the second black female created wrestler I made. Only got 2 created black female wrestlers, Thunderbolt and Bombshell Bunny. Thunderbolt is a purely old school power wrestler, kind of like Dixie. He's like a black version of Dixie Clements from Rumble Roses. But in my simulations, man, she can actually whip people's ass. She wins like slightly over half the time. It's like I'm afraid that it's like I have my own idea of wrestlers who should be main eventers and mid carders and lower card, and she's good enough. I built her good enough to where she could beat my main eventers. She's only, I think, at 86. But like I said in my other videos, ratings don't really matter. It's how you built your wrestler's attribute, their move sets, their tendencies, and their personality traits. That's what it comes down to, more so than anything. I like this arena. I should have turned off entrances because it's gonna look hella awkward. But I like this little small enclosed arena. I like it. I like the lighting in this little arena this dude created. But they made it very enclosed, yeah, like very small. They basically brought some props up and put some stuff over it to where you're not getting. Oh, I have the computer wrestling? Oh, the camera's fucked up. Okay. I'm gonna have to restart. Restart. As soon as you see the camera fuck up, you want to restart. Yeah. Otherwise, the game might crash. There we go. Wildcat. There we go.
A side of her that we've only seen glimpses of. I'm talking about her mean streak really coming to the forefront. She certainly has that malicious side of her, and it could be extremely beneficial to let it out here.
Wildcat has a pretty good moveset too. Like I said, that's been hours creating my wrestlers, hours, days, sometimes weeks.
Referee in position and fends off the pinfall. I don't know if I would have gone for a pin so soon.
I'll probably be ending this live stream soon, probably after this match. I was only going to spend an hour. Oh my god, that knee. Yeah, like I said, you want to have some quick, heavy strikes. You do. Because to be honest, is like I said, my fighting game playing background, I do believe in flame advantage. You know, frames. Basically, it's how quick and how fast the animation is for a move. So you definitely want to have strikes and whatever that are faster than people trying to grapple you, because you will run into times where people are going to grapple you out of strikes. What happens often in this game.
She can't allow this surge to frustrate her.
Yeah, but Wildcat, she's a high flyer. And I like it to where they made it the system to where your high flyer multipliers really do work. All the multipliers really do work in this game. So if you got a high flyer, you got to play that wrestler like a high flyer to maximize their damage. I don't know. I might try to do a more riskier high flyer online to see how that works, because like I said, it's easy for people to reverse shit. People reverse shit a lot online. That is a really good move, I ain't gonna lie. I've seen quite a few people have it on their wrestlers. I don't have it as a finisher, I have it as a signature. Now, she has the same finisher as Akane. This song, that body splash does so much damage with the multipliers. Yep, she ain't gonna kick out that damage multiplier with your aerial damage along with that finisher. Yeah, you either gonna knock people out or they're not gonna kick out. It's like, I know most people just make 100 rated wrestler and, you know, max out all their attributes so they can put whatever finishers, whatever on them and get those multipliers. It's like, that's well and good, you know, if you want to go that route, but I feel more fulfillment beating people with like maybe high 80s to mid 90 wrestlers. You know, I'm not stupid. I'm going to make sure my wrestler has resiliency. Or Move Thief. Move Thief pretty much gives you like an extra finisher without using your finisher. So you can get your signature, an extra finisher, because you basically still in the other person's move. And the cool thing about Move Thief, not only can you use their finisher, but you take away their finisher bar. That's what makes it good. But yeah, in one freaking turn, you can use a signature, their finisher, and also your regular finisher, like right afterwards. Move Thief is a really good ability in this game. It's probably just as valuable as a resiliency. What's another good one? So there's resiliency, Move Thief. What was the other one? There's another really good one. Blackout. Blackout is good. Another good one, a low-key good one, that's good for defensive purposes if you're really getting your ass kicked. I don't know if it's usable online though. Is you can call in a partner to basically interfere or distract the person from beating you down. That's a solid one. As far as the ones where that might get you disqualified, it's great in no DQ matches, but for regular type of matches, it's not very essential. And plus, with the one with the Venom Spit, or that one, just get the Venom Spit and punt kick. move. Even if you do it in front of the refs, you won't get disqualified. You'll spit stuff in their face, and then they'll cross to the ground and you just punt them in the face. I had that equipped as a normal move of one of my wrestlers. And you won't get disqualified for using that one. So the Venom Spit payback is useless. But Move Thief, Blackout, Resiliency are the best. Those are the best paybacks in the game. Call-in partner for it works online. Haven't tested it yet. In single matches, if I can call a partner, I'll have to try that. But with that being said, I'm going to end this live stream. Just want to get my thoughts on AEW. That way I don't come off as a troll in people's YouTube comments of the game who's covering it. Because you got a lot of YouTubers, they're trying to hype it and stuff like that. Some of the major YouTubers. But the cool thing about the major YouTubers is they're keeping their expectations even kill, so to speak. Because there's like, the 2K games have set the standard so much that it's like you got to keep your feelings even keel concerning it, unless it'll lead to disappointment, with the game. But I do plan on getting AEW. It looks alright. I'm a wrestling game collector and player, so just for collection purposes I'm going to get it, just to add it to my collection alone. Because like I said, I got Rumble Roses games, I got the Backyard Wrestling games, I got Raw 1 and 2, I got WrestleMania 21. I think the only wrestling games I don't have is GameCube wrestling games. But the funny thing is, I own a GameCube. I do own a GameCube. So I might pick up Day of Reckoning 1 and 2 and try those games out someday. Definitely get those games, add those two to the list of wrestling games to my collections. Those are 2 wrestling games I have never played, is the Day of Reckoning games. Seen videos for it. People say, they're pretty good games. So I'm definitely going to pick up Day of Reckoning and see what those games, see what they do. Before those of you guys who stopped by, thanks for stopping by. Listen to me ramble. Play some hella late night in the AM matches on 2K23. For those of you guys who stayed and watched, thanks for watching. For those of you guys who watch later, thanks again. You guys stay safe and God bless. But I'm definitely going to have to go on my YouTube right quick and make sure I click on this live stream, so that way I can watch it later. Because usually if I don't do that, I won't be able to see my live stream footage until YouTube gets done screening it, so it gets uploaded. But yeah, folks, I'm going to call it a morning because it's technically in the morning. So you guys take care. Bye bye.